ladies and gentlemen. The ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. At this time, I ask you to please find your seats and silence your cell phones. If you need help finding a seat, we have some assistants that can help you get to a seat. Thank you. Good morning. I am Dr. Jackie Petway, the Deputy Director of the Information Technology Lab at the U.S. Army Engineer Research and Development Center. At this time, I ask you to please stand for the playing of our national anthem. Please be seated. At this time, I would like to welcome our special guest, as well as our Corps of Engineers and ERDC team members joining us virtually during our live broadcast. Joining me on the program today include Dr. Pittman, the ERDC Director, Dr. Horner, the ITL Director, Mr. Bobby Hunter, the Director of the Supercomputing Research Center, and Marine Corporal Retired Cal Carpenter, our honoree. I'd also like to recognize other distinguished guests attending today. The Carpenter family, Ms. Pat Sullivan, ERDC Deputy Director, Colonel Chris Patterson, ERDC Commander, and all of our lab directors and ERDC leadership joining us virtually. ERDC Director Emeritus and former ITL Director, Dr. Jeff Holland, Mr. Sam Andrews, on behalf of Governor Tate Reeves, as well as Mr. P.J. Waldrop, Director of the Governor's Office of Military Affairs, and Mr. Jace Ponder, also of the Office of Military Affairs. Office of the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Critical Technologies guest, Dr. Forrest Schul, and Colonel Retired Todd Key. Our community officials and leaders, Alderman Alex Mansour, as well as several others, Mr. Dan Fordyce, who handled travel for the Carpenter family on behalf of the Warrior Bonfire program. The dedicated team of researchers, technicians, and staff here at our facility and virtually. Thank you again for taking the time to join us today. I will now turn it over to Mr. Bobby Hunter, Chief of Supercomputing Research Center.
Well, thank you, Dr. Petway. And thanks and welcome to each and every one here. I'm thankful to be here with you this morning on this special occasion as we celebrate the ribbon cutting of this new supercomputer that we're hosting here at ERDC ITL. Just on a personal note, just getting to meet Corporal Carpenter and his family when they came out of their vehicle was quite an emotional experience for me. It's just quite an honor to have them here with us this morning to celebrate. Here in ITL, we have been doing supercomputing for over 40 years. Now we have hosted some of the world's most powerful supercomputers here at ITL. This year marks a very special year for us in that it's our 30th year anniversary as a DoD Shared Resource Center under the support of the DoD High Performance Computing Modernization Program. So for 30 years, we're providing supercomputing capability across the Army, Navy, Air Force, and other DoD agencies. These supercomputers support scientists and engineers in solving complex problems that can't be solved using traditional desktop computers. With these supercomputers, researchers and scientists and engineers are able to use hundreds to thousands of compute cores to solve some of the most challenging problems facing the DoD. From aircraft design, ground vehicle design, ship design, and better blast protection. These are just a few of the problems that supercomputers support the DoD in solving. When you leave here the auditorium this morning, take a look at some of the posters hanging on the wall, and that will show you some of the work that's done here on these computers at ERDC. One thing about supercomputers is organizations that host them like to name them. Typically, there's a schema to naming of these supercomputers. And for over 25 years here at ERDC ITL, we named our supercomputers after precious minerals and gems. We had names such as onyx, sapphire, ruby, sard, and a myriad of other precious gems and minerals. In 2018, it was suggested that we change the name. And I thought, we can't change the name, this is tradition. But the change was suggested that we go with Mississippi Medal of Honor recipients. So that was a really good idea. And after I went online and started reading the stories behind these Medal of Honor recipients, I realized this wasn't a good idea, this was an incredible idea. It was awe-inspiring and emotional to me to read these stories, and I really encourage each of you to go online and read the stories of the names behind these supercomputers we now have here at ERDC ITL. Also up in the collaborative area above us, if you have a chance, go up there and there are some posters up there where you can read the citations of what these service members did in protecting their fellow service members. In 2018, the first system we named was named after, Army Major Ed Freeman from Neely, Mississippi. Major Freeman received the Medal of Honor after putting himself in harm's way to save a number of his fellow warfighters in Vietnam. In 2022, we named a supercomputer after Marine Lance Corporal Roy Wheat from Moselle, Mississippi. Corporal Wheat received the Medal of Honor after giving his life to protect his fellow Marines in Vietnam. And in 2023, we are here naming our latest supercomputer after Marine Corporal Kyle Carpenter from Flowood, Mississippi. Corporal Carpenter received the Medal of Honor after a selfless act of protecting his fellow service members from a grenade explosion. So I want to tell you a little bit about the supercomputer that we've named after Corporal Carpenter. This supercomputer is comprised of 277,000 compute cores. It has over 9 petaflops of compute capability. Now I'm going to tell you what a petaflop is. So a flop is a floating point operation per second. That's how we measure the speed of these supercomputers. So that basically is a mathematical calculation in 1 second. This system here can do 9 quadrillion calculations per second. That's a 9 with 15 zeros. To help put that in a little bit of context, if we had Corporal Carpenter and 9,999 scientists and engineers all doing a calculation per second on a calculator, it would take them 28,500 years to do what this computer can do in 1 second. There's a lot of Corporal Carpenter talked about how energized he was after seeing Carpenter, so he would need to be quite energized to be able to keep up with the performance of that system. Another capability it has is so much faster than our older computers. One of our researchers actually running on an older computer ran his code on Carpenter, and it ran 40 times faster than it did on the older computer. That doesn't seem like a lot, but a lot of these problems can take days and weeks to run. So if they had a problem that took them 48 hours to run on that older computer, they can now solve that problem in about 1 hour on this new computer. So it's quite a leap in capability and performance that we're seeing. And this computer will serve DoD scientists and researchers in this decade and into the next to solve some of the most complex and challenging problems in protecting and supporting our warfighter. And so Corporal Carpenter, naming this system in your honor is just a small token of appreciation that we all have for your service and sacrifice in protecting our freedoms. Thank you. And at this time, I would like to introduce Dr. David Horner, Director of the Information Technology Laboratory.
Thank you all. I really appreciate everybody being here. Corporal Carpenter, it's just an honor and a privilege. The family, I really think it was amazing that you all were able to show up and share this moment with us because it is very special to us. I'm going to do a little history. I'll try. So the Waterways Experiment Station got its first big computer in probably 1956. It wasn't for science. It was for business and accounting and things like that. Our first supercomputer was probably in the late 80s. It had 16 cores on it. I think Bobby just said this one's 277. A lot has changed over time. We might have been able to keep up on, we might have been able to do that calculator thing with that first supercomputer. We're not going to do that anymore. Today, this is a very unique complex we have here in Vicksburg. We have over 30,000 square feet of raised floor space. We host now 7 supercomputers operating at all classification levels to support some of the most significant challenges that we have inside the Department of Defense. I want to kind of give a historical perspective, and I'm just going to pull one thread, and that is force protection. Because at ERDC, we do a lot of research and work in applying better technologies to deploy to the field to protect our men and women in uniform. Back in 1997, we had the Khobar Tower incident, which was an attack on our military basing in Khobar, Saudi Arabia. It was a tragic event. But it was probably the first time that we actually applied the supercomputer to actually doing forensics and understanding what actually happened on that tragic day. And from that, we were able to learn a lot about how the attack occurred, what the impact, and more importantly, things that we could do differently to protect us in the future, in our standoff, in investing in certain new types of technology, and just getting better at the whole force protection area. But from a computational point of view, we could not have done that type of a calculation excuse me, had we not had a supercomputer. And because of that, we made a lot of investments. And when 9/11 occurred in the Pentagon, we were in the process of retrofitting the Pentagon with a lot of the force protection technologies and the use of the supercomputers to understand how we protect against major attacks. And because of the retrofitting, we can really go back and look at that. A lot of lives were saved because of the work that we've done on force protection. And here again, how we apply the supercomputers. Here more recently, in 2020, the al-Assad attack on our airfield in Iraq, ERDC was asked to be brought in to say, can we do something to redesign the bunkers that our soldiers set in when we have missile attacks. And within a year and a half, a new design was developed. Using these supercomputers, the researchers ran over 120 high-detail calculations to basically minimize the effect of the blast waves to traumatic brain injuries of our soldiers. So why I tell this story is these computers are nice and they're big and they're important, but it's the problems that we use to solve. And I've talked a lot about force protection, but we are using these computers to solve our next generation weapon systems and just put our Department of Defense in a better place. So I'm honored that we get the opportunity to do this mission. Corporal Carpenter, I think you are a reminder to all the researchers here at ERDC and across the DoD enterprise of the importance of our mission in research and in delivering technology to our warfighters. So I thank you again for giving us the opportunity to dedicate this machine to you. With that, I will invite Dr. David Pittman, Director of ERDC.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's a great day here in Vicksburg, Mississippi today. Fantastic. You know why it's a great day? Okay. So ERDC is now 25 years old. We stood up ERDC back in 1998. Just had our 25th anniversary. The Waterways Experiment Station started in 1929. That's the Vicksburg part of ERDC. Started 94 years ago. So we've been around a long, long time. And for the first time in our history, very first time in our history, this is a historical day, we have a Medal of Honor winner in our presence on this campus today. And at the exact same time, we're about to sign off on one of the fastest supercomputers in the Department of Defense on the very same day. So how about that? If you're not excited about that, you don't get excited very much. So thank y'all very much for the great comments this morning. What I'm going to do is spend a little time talking about Kyle himself. It's my great honor to do this. I've never met a Medal of Honor winner, sir. So this is a privilege to me, and I think a lot of people here want to meet you. That's why everybody's here is for you, sir. So I'm going to talk a little bit about his history. I'm going to go chronologically here, and it all started way back in October of 1989. We were watching a little video about our supercomputer program a minute ago, and we said the first supercomputer we hear was 1989. He said, that's when I was born. I said, good. There's another connection right here. So October of 1989, he was actually born in Jackson, Mississippi. I believe that's so, Mom and Daddy. Is that right? He was actually born in Jackson and raised in Flowood, because here's the Mom and Daddy right here. I'm just looking at Mom and Daddy. So Mom and Daddy is James and Robin. And by the way, I want to thank y'all for being here, because I know this is so important to Kyle that y'all are here, and the love and support y'all have shown him throughout his whole life, but especially the last few years. And this is part of the family here today, I believe. I'm sorry I hadn't met y'all yet. But can we give a hand to the family here that has supported Kyle? So we all have families, and we know the importance of families, and we can't do what we do without y'all doing what y'all do. So we appreciate that and being here today. So I'm going to fast forward to March 2009. By this time, he's 19 years old, okay? And he decides he wants to join the Marines. Well, I suspect that was a good conversation with Mom and Daddy. But he said, I want to do that. And you know what he said? He said, I want to do something bigger than myself. Wow, that gives me chills. Do something bigger than myself. Well, he sure did that. He absolutely did that. So by July of 2010, he was assigned to Afghanistan. Actually, he has assumed his position as a squad automatic weapon, SAW gunner. So he was a gunner, and he was part of the Fox Company, 2nd Battalion, 9th Marine Regiment, Regimental Combat Team 1, 1st Marine Division Forward, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force, 1st MEV. Hooah! Any Marines out there? Hoorah! There we go. I know. A lot of Marines out there. So anyway, he was assigned to Helmand Province, the most dangerous part of Afghanistan, southwest corner. That's where a lot of the bad stuff was happening. And of course, supporting Operation Enduring Freedom, one of the longest wars in America's history. So then, fast forward just a few months later, fateful day, 21 November 2010. By then, Kyle was 21 years old. 21. So Kyle and his fellow Marine, Nick Euphrasio, is that right, Kyle? Euphrasio? So Nick, his friend Nick, they were in a position on top of a roof. They were in a fighting position behind sandbags, and they would defend their position, and the enemy threw a grenade in their fighting position. Now, I've never had a grenade thrown at me. You watch movies and things like that, and you think, what are you going to do when they throw a grenade at you? Get out of there. Well, that was not Kyle's instinct. His instinct was to save his friend's life. And that's exactly what he did. So that grenade blew up. It severely injured Kyle, of course, almost killed him. And it saved Nick's life. That's why it just gives me chills to think about that. That's incredible bravery and courage, that action. So he spent months, years actually, in the hospital with doctors and nurses, and medical technicians, and mom and daddy, and family, and loved ones, and prayers. And through all of that, he healed. He was medically retired in July of 2013 at age 23 years old as a corporal. That's the rank he has today. Less than 1 year later, the 19th of June of 2014, he is 24 years old at this point. He was presented the Medal of Honor by President Barack Obama. Now, y'all know what the Medal of Honor is. It's the highest award you can possibly get from the United States military for bravery and courage, and so much well-deserved that. So he's the 8th living recipient of the Medal of Honor for actions in Afghanistan. Not many people get this, of course. And he's the youngest living Medal of Honor recipient. And he's from Mississippi. And we're so proud. So today, Kyle is 34 years old. He didn't just survive that attack. He's thriving. I watched videos last night of him. He's riding bicycles. He's climbing mountains. He's running marathons. He's wearing me out just looking at him on the video there. It's like, my goodness, wow. But I have never been more proud, Kyle, than I am today as ERDC director to stand here and tell you, sir, you're the reason that we do what we do in the ERDC. So we say we discover, develop, and deliver new ways to make the world safer and better. At Disney World for Engineers and Scientists, by the way. We do that. That's why we do what we do, is what you do. So you're an absolutely outstanding hero and wonderful representative of those soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, guardsmen, Coast Guardsmen, and all those service people out there that sacrifice their lives and defend our freedom every day. That's why we do what we do. It really, really is. So thank you for this honor to be here today and dedicate this supercomputer name. It's really our honor and privilege. So y'all give a warm Mississippi and ERDC welcome to Corporal William Kyle Carpenter, Medal of Honor recipient.
All right, sit down, sit down, sit down. Well, I've never not had to lower a microphone, so at least we're starting out with the status quo, and probably not the best way to start by saying I'm speechless. You know, I'll get to my remarks, but I'm speechless in a very overwhelming type way. And I guess as simple as a solution as I can think of to help this feeling. You know, I wish I could just give every single person that works here, that's committed to our great nation, every single person that has helped put this computer together tediously over years of time. I just wish I could give all of you a hug and just say thank you. One of the many things I've realized from the past 13 years of my journey is just how strange and beautiful and unexpected of a journey life can be. One day, you're a Marine carrying a machine gun on your shoulders through the fields and canals of Afghanistan. And the next, you are surrounded by some of the world's greatest minds at a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a supercomputer. And I know you all be very surprised when I tell you that Marines don't usually spend a lot of time around advanced computing systems. But this is truly an extraordinary moment. Being a kid who thought that it couldn't get any better than a Nintendo 64, it is incredible to see how far we as humans have come in our pursuit of knowledge and technology. As I thought about my remarks here today and what I wanted to convey, all I could keep coming back to was just how humbling all of this is. And obviously I came up with these remarks before I even got here today, but for the hour that I was here before walking in that door and being with all of you, you know, it might sound, I don't know, dramatic to say, but that was one of the most impactful hours of my life. I thought that I was going to be here and of course be around so many good people, but I thought I was going to look out and see just a blank computer with nothing on it. And then I looked through that window and I saw myself, but really I saw our military and our nation and so many that have given so much. And ultimately, a moment for all of us and for our country, but for those that never made it home as well. But it is so humbling to be recognized by and have a computer named after me that has such a powerful and purposeful creation that will be used to make our nation and our world better. It is so humbling to have worn the same uniform as so many who brought this achievement to life. And it is so humbling to be surrounded by so many good people, from my family here today, who have unconditionally loved me, supported me, and cheered me on throughout my life, to the U.S. Army. Now you know I'm feeling the love right now. I'm just kidding. We're all on the same team. I love you all. But to the U.S. Army, the researchers, engineers, scientists, doctors, this command, and everyone here at ERDC who have already, in just the short hour I've been here, lovingly and wholeheartedly embraced me with open arms. And to all of you, whether you are here from the great state of Mississippi, like me, or you are here as a patriotic American who loves and supports this mission, thank you. And I am forever grateful for this unforgettable moment shared with you. This supercomputer is also symbolic of our military and this mission. I'm going to put my notes over here because this is my blind spot, so I'm kind of working against myself here. But it's symbolic of our military and this mission. Every piece of this computer, every job represented here, and every person in our military has a specific purpose, all of which are vital to the success of the mission. It also symbolizes our ability to adapt and overcome. Battlefields change, but we do not. Our commitment to our nation, to freedom for all people, and to help those around the world who are in need, who struggle daily, and who wake up every single day hoping that today's sunrise is a little better, a little more hopeful, a little more happier, a little less oppressive and scary than the days before. We will never change and we will never waver. There's still so many things I could and wish I could say here today, but I will leave you with this. The jobs you do are vitally important and, safe to say, uniquely complex. But they are all intricate roles that support one central theme: impact. Now, in life, at times, the frustrating but beautiful thing about impact is that we rarely see how far the ripples go. Like a rock thrown into a pond. And I hope I'm not insulting any of you because this is so advanced and this is going to be so simple. But like a rock thrown into a pond, at first those ripples are small and close together. But with time, those small ripples, they travel outward and they continue to grow larger and larger with more space in between, until we can no longer see them, but they are still there, traveling outward. Never forget that the jobs you do have tremendous impact for each other, for our nation, for our world, and for humanity. And sometimes the greatest impact goes unseen. To everyone here today, thank you for being here. Thank you for the effort you gave to be here and to be a part of this historical moment. To everyone who tediously worked on and devoted themselves to this project, this supercomputer, for years of your life, thank you will never be enough, but I hope that you are as proud of yourselves as we are of you. And to those here who are in uniform or who have ever worn the sacred cloth of our nation, it is my greatest honor to have served, sacrificed, and bled with you. And always remember that when no one made you and when you could have done anything else with your life and in this world, you chose to voluntarily go into that recruiting station, to raise your right hand, to give up to your life for this nation. That is powerful and profound. Thank you, and Semper Fidelis.
Thank you, sir. And now the moment we have been waiting for. It is time to cut the ribbon. I ask that our honoree, Cal Carpenter, Dr. Pittman, Dr. Horner, Mr. Bobby Hunter, Dr. Schul, Dr. Ballard, Ms. Sullivan, and Colonel Patterson, and the Carpenter family, please follow me to the supercomputer floor at this time to cut the ribbon. Due to space, I ask everyone else to please remain in the auditorium, and we'll be live streaming the event on the monitors above.
Today we celebrate 30 years of supercomputing excellence at the ERDC. This journey culminates in the unveiling of a new era symbolized by the Carpenter supercomputer. Our story unfolds in 1989 with the inception of an Army Supercomputer Center. In 1993, it evolved into the first high-performance computing Major Shared Resource Center under the Department of Defense's HPC modernization program. It became a beacon of computational advancements. In 2009, a significant rebranding to the ERDC DoD Supercomputing Resource Center marked a new era. For years, we named our supercomputers after gems, symbols of rarity and immense value. Today, we turn to a different kind of inspiration, one that surpasses the most precious gems in valor and significance. We honor William Kyle Carpenter, a Medal of Honor recipient whose story of bravery and selflessness is nothing short of extraordinary. In 2010, during a fierce firefight in Afghanistan, Carpenter shielded a fellow Marine from a grenade blast, embodying the essence of patriotism and sacrifice. His actions remind us of the courage and resilience of American servicemen and women. Carpenter's unwavering commitment and sacrifice make him a symbol of the very best of America. In this spirit, we proudly name our latest supercomputer Carpenter, a tribute to a true American hero. With 9 petaflops of compute capability, with 277,248 AMD compute cores. The Carpenter supercomputer is not merely a machine, it's a tribute to the indomitable human spirit. Today, as we unveil Carpenter, we also celebrate over 3 decades of innovation, marked by remarkable machines and extraordinary people.
Engineers, we thank you for coming today. This concludes the official part of our ceremony. At this time, we would like for those that can stick around to join us in the hallway, and there will be a receiving line, and we can applaud Corporal Carpenter as he comes out of the floor space. Thank you so much for coming. Have a nice day.